Alright, bruh, sampling is not hard. Making music is not hard. All of hip-hop comes from sampling. Alright, you use YouTube to MP3 to get the file into FL Studio. This one's my favorite. And then you just drag the MP3 file from the song just into the project. And then just be sure you bring it to the start. So what this is basically the timeline. And you can experience it in two ways, through the pattern or the song. Patterns? Oh shit. Hold on. So, alright, so this is your beats per minute up here. When you're doing just kind of like the example I'm going to show you, you're going to want to make sure it's synced up to the song. So you can just Google that. And it's 116 BPM. That's basically just like the time signature. And then that way just all the instruments are synced, and then you can just scroll it down, and you can even kind of see it, like it actually shrinks or it does a song. So with what we're gonna do, that's just gonna be helpful. And the coolest part about FL Studio is that with this is if you press this little thing up there and then go to extract stems from sample, what it's gonna do is it's gonna take the vocals, the instruments, the drums, and the bass, as long as you make sure you have selected, and then just isolate them so you can take each sound and kind of do whatever you want with it. And now you have all the tracks isolated, so you can just hear the bass. Oh, if I turn up the volume. Oh fuck, it died. That's the drums. And that way you can just go in and kind of edit like each of these individually. Alright, and then what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna be able to like extract like individual sounds, and this is the best for drums. It's like just my favorite thing to do in terms of sampling. But you double click and then get to this screen. This is where you can edit like the actual sounds and everything, like the audio files that are like in the track. And then you right click and go to edit in audio editor, and then go up to this little magnet right up there, and then snap to 0 crossing. And then you can now drag your selection just like that so it's red. And then this actually allows you to see the actual like individual sounds that it's making. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select these individual sounds and take them out, and then rearrange them in whatever order you want. So you see like the peaks right there, that's kind of what we're looking for because that's the individual sounds. So if we zoom in all the way and then just select whatever that is, this is what we get. So that's a kick and a hi-hat on top of each other. So we can just call it a kick because we're lazy. So then up here in that little paper thing, you just drag it out and then put it anywhere you want. I kind of like keep it up the front to get it organized. And there's that tiny thing down there. This is hard to do with fucking one hand holding this shit. You can zoom in, and there he is. But this would be really difficult to kind of have to copy this sound everywhere and do it. So that's where the patterns come in. So up in the pattern, I don't know if you saw that, but you go to the keyboard, then the pattern, and then ignore that. And then up where that little thing is, you pop that up. And then, so here's all the sounds that we have. And this is our kick right here. That's that down there. So I'll just go ahead and rename it to kick. And I don't know how much you know about drums, but it normally goes on like at least the first. So we're just gonna put it on the first. This is basically like a measure, this first thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it repeats back to 1. So that's just kind of how you think of it. So this is 4 bars right here. Then you go back up to that, to the pattern, drop it down in there, Let's get that out of there. And then the only thing that'll play on the timeline is going to be the pattern. Once it's like song up here. If you just want to listen to the pattern individually, you just press pattern up there and it turns to orange. And that plays it inside this, so you'll see this bar going. But if you do it in song, so select so it comes to green, this green thing, that's going to be where it plays. Alright, so just one more time, you go up to the drums, double click, it gets to here, right click, edit in audio editor, and then you can just zoom in and select the individual sounds. So we need a snare, and then some sort of hi-hat, and shit like that. Alright, so here's the snare. And then so there's actually technically like 2 different sounds for the hi-hat right here. But that's just how he's playing it. You can see one peaks and then one is a little smaller. So I'll show you how to do that. We only need to select the larger one. But if you listen, it's loud, then quiet, then loud, then quiet. And then ignore that little bump. That's just an error in the thing. Alright, so you go in and just select your selection and drag it down here. And just go ahead and rename it. And then you have the 3 sounds. And you can put them anywhere in the pattern, anywhere you want. But just for standard and just for like hip hop, it normally goes, it's on 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need it. Oh, I'd fuck off. Okay, so now it's correct. And then this is just a little trick so you don't have to press the hat every time. You right click and then fill each 2 steps. And then you right click and go to piano roll, and then this is what we're gonna do. Just kind of get the feeling of the bounce that he had, because it went loud, then soft, then loud, then soft. So just each time, just right down here, this is called the velocity. This is just how hard it's pressed. So for each of these, you just go and select it down, and then that'll give you that little bounce effect where it goes loud, quiet, loud, quiet. So this is kind of quiet compared to the other instrumentals. So what we can do to change the volume, this right here changes the volume. You can see like on the individual sounds, but if you want to group them, so these are all drums, we can just do the mouse thing up. I forget what that middle part's called. Just scroll up till it's all selected at 1, and then it feeds it all to the same like mixer track. And to edit that, you go to this little thing, the mixer, and everything's all in one. So this is the volume for it, and then we'll just turn it up a little bit because I'm deaf. And here's the pattern in the song track. Just make sure it's selected up there and you're playing it there. And so with this, you can actually change the BPM just when the sounds are isolated like this, but I'm gonna try to kind of like cut out certain things here. So you definitely can change the BPM as long as this stuff is like isolated, but for now I'm just gonna leave it because I'm lazy. I just recommend you play around with that on your own. Alright, so we're on the bass again, and remember you just go to audio editor, and so there's 2 things here that I really want to grab just to mess with. There's this first part here, which we're just gonna drag down there, and then of course I have to go all the way fucking back, and I probably have to remember where it is. But so that's the part I want like in the whole song. Shit is tough. I really gotta get out my tripod. Here's some fucking bullshit. Alright, but then you select that second part. So it's on there. So the first part plays and then the second part plays. But what we can do is we can just like repeat the first part like multiple times and then end the 4 bars with the second part. That's just my idea. I don't know if this is actually gonna work out or not.